Okay, this is going to be a little bit more of a quick hitter-esque video. This is in regards to kind of an email that I got, and yeah, anyway, long story short, this is to answer a question that I received in an email, and I'm making this video very quickly. It is currently Thursday night, and I'm hoping I can just edit this and get it out on Friday, so that way it's out there in the world for you to enjoy. But this goes back to a previous video I made about this camera, which if you don't know what it is, comment your guesses down below. Yeah, if you guessed it's a Minolta SRT 101, you would be correct, and you get the golden trophy, which I don't know what that is yet, but I will find out. When I do, you will receive one, so check the mail. Anyway, something I've discussed on this channel, and with anybody who asks, who's bold enough, brave enough to ask me about Minoltas, is to talk about this. Obviously this one is broken because this camera has seen better days, but this is the Aperture input basically, and what this should be doing if it worked properly is I would be moving it and it would launch back because there'd be tension from the string system up here. So what I'm gonna do is really briefly, but let's get into it real quick. So something I've said before, you really don't want, like if it's sticking, that's a different issue. This is if it's doing this. And if the top is on the camera and all that stuff and it's still doing this, that's what this issue is basically. But what we're gonna do is we're going to remove the lens mount. I like to do it in a kind of organized way. I like to think of it when you're squatting or benching a lot of weight on a barbell. Say like you got 315 on the barbell, which is 3 45-pound plates. You don't want to remove all of them from one side because the barbell is going to tip up and all of the other plates are going to launch down, and everybody in the gym will laugh at you and will make you feel very bad about your life. So instead what you want to do is remove a plate from each side at any given time and go from there. So that's kind of what I like to do with the screws, and I like to do the same when I attach them. I don't really think there's any rationale behind that other than just makes me feel a little bit better, and it makes sure that each of them are getting tightened exactly and it's sitting level and not off kilter. And I like to remove this like so, corral my screws right there so I know exactly which ones they are because my desk is a bit of a pigsty at the moment. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at this, okay? I'd be very surprised if this is still connected. Oh, it is, look at that. Okay, so this is gonna be not the best example for this because the string is still connected. It's just broken up in here more. But if it is not connected properly, what you will see is a string is right there, and that sits right in there, in that little slot. That's it, basically. So if this is disconnected, meaning that this is moving freely without any tension, what you want to do is remove the lens mount and then pull up on this, find that string. There should be a knot tied at the end. If there is not a knot, you will have to tie your own. I believe somewhere buried on the SRT repair manual that I used to read religiously, there was a knot tying, which just seems like such an odd thing to include for camera repair. Like, hey, here's how you tie knots. Anyway, I suck at tying knots too, so I actually needed to use it, but the knot sits in like so. Oh, I guess, yeah, I'll just disconnect it and reconnect it for you. Totally doing that on purpose. So it sits in like that. I like to run it up like that so I know it's sitting properly. And feasibly there should be more tension. This is going to be a terrible example because typically it would sit like this and you wouldn't have this loose bit because this would be pulling on the string and you wouldn't have to worry about it. but unfortunately this one is quite broken, as I've mentioned a few times now. 0 to 10, I'm about negative 20% interested in actually repairing this, just because the string mechanism has probably taken years off of my life in terms of patience, but that's like a simple fix for just realigning that and getting it set back into place. And then again, we're going to take this and we're going to sit it right in there so the screws line up. And then we take our screws, and again, just think of barbell at the gym, because that's just where my mind goes. And you want to make sure that it's tight, because if it isn't, then this lens mount will be loose, and then whatever lens you put on there could potentially fall off. And you can see here that it will still move freely, and you're good to go. Now, there is another issue that happens with these more regularly, I would say, than that. And that would be that this is just stiff to move. But what I ended up kind of doing with that was doing the same removal process. More often than not, what had happened would be like a lot of gunk had gotten under here, and it solidified up against this ring and or solidified in the well itself. So just kind of cleaning that out did work in some occasions. Other instances it wasn't working as much because there were issues up here instead with how it was winding. And it was one of those situations where it took me so long to figure this out the first time. It was kind of deemed not really worth my while to try and consistently work it out. So instead I spent time working on other cameras. I will eventually get to realigning all of this, probably even on this camera, just so that way I can make a better video about that, because I do think the manual, while it does kind of demonstrate how to do it, me personally, I'm just a visual learner. So I feel like if there's a video out there to help you, if you really want to get into this, one of these days I'll make a video on this, but for now that's just kind of how to fix this if it is an issue. Likely it will be, because that's just kind of how these older cameras are. And also, again, just check to make sure it moves. This is not the right way that it needs to move. It needs to have tension to it, but make sure it moves. Anywho, I think that'll do it. Like I said, very short, quick video, just kind of going over that briefly. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions on that fix or any others, please feel free to comment down below. Let me know. I have more Minolta videos I need to edit, but let me know if you like Minolta cameras, because in my mind, I think they're okay. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. They're okay. But I know that there's a lot of like ardent Minolta supporters out there, so I'd be curious to see how many of you stumbled upon my channel. If that is the case, welcome. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content and want to see more. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and shoot me an email if you have any repair related questions. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can, but appreciate you watching. And as always, move all this cordage out of the way. Catch you on the next one.